Yields back, Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Carbajal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been over a year since Space Force and the Department each published their commercial space strategies. To maintain space superiority, we need to lean into commercial space industry. Let's be clear, the Space Force and the entire Department of Defense, for that matter, is dependent on commercial space industry. General Purdy and Secretary Duffy, can you tell me where the Space Force is at on the implementation of the commercial space strategy?
Sir, thanks for the question. The commercial space strategy has quite a few implementation steps throughout it. Many of those are on the operational side, and the Space Force can take for QFR, you know, the details of what we're doing there. On the acquisition side, we've got quite a few activities going on, one of which is a complete survey across all our program managers and all our PEOs on the status of what they're doing to consider commercial space and actually make progress. We've been laying the steps for that for years with our activity with both DIU and SpaceWorks, SBIR Phase 1, Phase 2s, and then getting into StratFi, cooperative relationships with venture capital. That's been very successful. We built a good pool of commercial new space companies. Those companies are now starting to bid on multiple different activities. You see them in Space Development Agency, you see that in our new GPS RGXX program, which is the GSAP replacement. And so we're starting to see success with commercial new companies' penetration into our acquisitions. In addition, as we explore data as a service and acquisitions as a service in certain different areas to be able to just wholesale buy activity as a service. So pretty good. We have a long way to go. It's a culture change that has to occur across the entire organization, from the requirements to the acquirers to the ops acceptance testing. And so there's a lot of cultural angles there, but each one of those organizations has been tasked by the CSO and the acting SE, myself, to continue to move that ball forward.
Thank you, Secretary Duffy.
In ANS, we're focused on how can we enable General Purdy and his execution on taking advantage of the dual use and commercial focus of space. And so we'll continue a dialogue on where there are policy barriers and opportunities to leverage commercial to move forward in that important domain.
Thank you. Does the Space Force have the authorities needed to fully take advantage of the commercial space industry? And if not, what else do we need to do?
I think we do have the broad-based authorities, particularly with SPEED Act and the discussions of acquisition reform coming down. I'm excited about those. One of my main focus areas, and Secretary mentioned it, is its compliance culture versus the speed culture. We still have across the department, and particularly in Space Force and in the functional areas, compliance culture, and it's based on the incentives of the individuals. It's not for any lack of malice or whatnot. Many of the individuals are trying to do as best as they can, follow the rule sets and regulations that they can, while also delivering as much capability to the warfighter as they can. And therein lies the dichotomy. Many times we focus on as much capability as possible, which ends up slowing our acquisition because we want that extra couple of percent. The culture of speed and a culture of commercial is about good enough. It's about requirements that are good enough that we can get after that commercial capability. So we continue to move that forward, and I would argue it's as much a culture, if not more a culture discussion, than an authority discussion.
Secretary Duffy, anything to add?
Well, I think General Purdy hit on it pretty well, especially when it comes to whether it's the SPEED Act or the internal workings within the department to provide greater flexibility under requirements. I think that will give us the pathway to take better advantage of commercial technologies which may not have been inherently designed to meet military needs but are good enough for us to be able to leverage much more quickly.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you to think for a minute. Can you give an example of both a success and a failure of commercial space integration and any lessons we learned?
Okay. A couple of successes that I would poke at would be starting success. We haven't seen the fruition of that. When we stopped the GSAP program and we moved into a commercial-based model, we took requirements off. That allowed us to go from a classified activity to an unclassified activity and to get after commercial and hopefully even foreign military sales. That is a success to start that acquisition program. I would argue that the NSSL Phase 3 activity that we stood up for launch, particularly Lane 1, is all about setting up a structure of success for commercial. And I struggle to come up with a failure right off the top of my head, sir.
Thank you. I'm out of time. I have a couple more questions that I will submit to you. Mr. Chair, I yield back.